In a week of deepening turmoil, Israel's strategy in Gaza unravels. Yasser Abu Shabab, leader of an Israeli-backed militia, is assassinated, exposing the fragility of proxy forces with no public trust. Hamas claims responsibility, while internal clashes hint at broader chaos. Simultaneously, Netanyahu appoints Roman Goffman, his loyal military secretary with no intelligence experience, as a new Mossad chief, despite revelations he misled an army probe involving a teen operative. These moves signal not strength, but a security doctrine in crisis. I'm Mohammed Morsi, and this is Think Tank.
Our world is becoming unhinged.
The Jerusalem Post reported that Roman Goffman, Netanyahu's military secretary, has been named Israel's next Mossad director. The appointment of a veteran field commander to this top intelligence post marks a significant strategic shift within Israel's security establishment. Goffman is highly decorated, notably the most senior officer hurt during the Gaza war. Yet his elevation is marred by controversy, including calls for an investigation over using a minor in a past intelligence operation without proper authority. This crucial leadership change happens as the Mossad manages deep regional threats and highly sensitive hostage diplomacy efforts. His performance will be key to Israel's strategic moves in the Middle East. And according to The Guardian, the death of Yasser Abu Shabab, commander of an occupation army-backed militia in Gaza, signals a major strategic failure for the Israeli scheme to use proxies to suppress local resistance. Abu Shabab was killed in a violent clash with powerful local families after a dispute over a detainee. This tragic end suggests strong internal rejection of collaboration among the Palestinian people within the besieged territory. Analysts agree this proxy plan was always doomed. The incident strongly affirms the popular Palestinian refusal of occupation's attempts to create a controllable alternative to legitimate national forces. To talk to us more about this, we're joined from Jericho by Dr. Abdel Nasser Makki, a political science professor. Thank you, sir, for joining us here on Think Tank. Now, Dr. Makki, how profound is the assassination of Yasser Abu Shabab? Does this expose the occupation forces' reliance on collaborators and people within the Gaza Strip to sort of use the tactic of divide and conquer?
I think the assassination of Mr. Abu Shabab is indicators that the Israeli couldn't even depend on these people, because these people are not, even they are working with Israeli, but they are not have any basis inside the Palestinian society. So I think this is people is just, they are going to have just for them. And after that, the people of Gaza are hating them because they are cooperating with the Israeli. So because of this, these people will not be, the people who could support the Israeli in the future. Many people like cooperation, the Israeli, even that when they killed by the Palestinian or even by the Israeli didn't even interest on them, because they know that these people at the end they will be killed by their people, their nation.
Yeah, well, sir, since you brought that up, now The Guardian is suggesting that this operation was, quote, doomed from the start. But do you think this is the case, or is this not the first time, obviously, that the Israelis have used, collaborators in their operations? Do you think this is just how the Israelis, operate? They have collaborators who are eventually dispensable or disposable, depending on the situation, and they've already, caused conflict within the Gaza Strip, including hiding aid. They've got their goal.
As I said, these people is not, they are not have a basis in Gaza. The Israeli, even they're depending in the first time, but after that, they are living with the Israeli in Rafah. As you know, they are not inside Gaza where the people is there. So even that, maybe these people are not killing by the Hamas or the other militant, but maybe they are killing by somebody from the people because they are hating them. And even the Israeli themselves, they are not, and then they are not depending on them because they know that these people, they are just temporarily working with the Israeli, and then they will be killed. This is the thing. The other thing is that about, that for inside Gaza, now I think even if you're talking about the families or they are in Gaza, I don't think that these people will be supported Israeli at the end, and even that the Israeli will not depending on them because these people will not have the strong and the ability and capability in order to convenience the people in Gaza to trust them. So the assassination of Abu Shabab and also for the other family in Gaza, I don't think so that all of them will be at the end will stay. So the solution will be to have, open coordination with the people in Gaza in order to select people who will represent them in the end.
Well, sir, now that the Abu Shabab has been eliminated, beyond this immediate chaos of what's happening, how does the elimination of this militia or the collapse of its power consolidate the idea of national resistance as well as the narrative of, attempting to end the occupation or even end the fragmentation of Palestinian society?
Yes, I think many of the trials of the Israeli try to make fragmentation between the Palestinians themselves in Gaza by creating these people, that's like some militant. They have about 4 militants which are cooperate with the Israeli, but at the end, I don't think so that maybe these people or these militant influence temporarily, but at the end, for the society inside Gaza and the cooperation and the coordination and the relation, I think is strong now. And I don't think that all this will influence on the consolidated in Gaza, because the people in Gaza, even all of the war and the destruction, I don't think so that these people will, go ahead with Israeli, but
Yes.
many of them, they are supporting even the resistance against the Israeli.
But sir,
end,
would you say, Abu Shabab and his militia have been known to be responsible for certain things like association with the GHF, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, taking the aid. Even if the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip do not support them, they have been hurt or affected by these militias. Do you think that the Israelis may continue to use people or collaborators like Abu Shabab?
Look, for this matter, what happening to the Abu Shabab is like strong indicators that even that they are providing, supporting, and because they are stealing all that's the humanitarian assistance by the United Nations or by any humanitarian institution or agency. But at the end, even that, the people of Gaza, they are not supporting them because they know that these people are cooperate with Israeli, and the Gaza people, they are not they against Israeli. What they are doing, they are killing the people. They destroy all Gaza. So how come that these people will, that even support these people regardless what they are? Some of them providing assistance to some people here and here.
Well, can we talk about Prime Minister Netanyahu's appointment of a military loyalist, Roman Goffman? Why do you think that is, and who is, he's an outsider of the intelligence community. Why was he chosen to take this position? in this sensitive time, especially given the many issues or strifes that have been happening within Israel internally, as well as the attacks on neighboring countries by the Israelis?
You know, Prime Minister Netanyahu, as you know, they have exposed to many of the scandals, especially for the corruption. And even that, the failures of the 7th of October is, you know, that Netanyahu didn't want to admit it, that he is responsible. Even the military and even the Mossad, the Shabak, they admitted that there are some of them, especially the head of the previous one of the Mossad and the Shabak also, they admitted, and even the head of the military and also the Minister of Defense, you know, that's Gallant. But because of this, Netanyahu want to continue his political life, and because of this, he want to go ahead with going to, as you know, to nominated himself for the next, you know, that's round of the election in Israel, which will be next year. And because of this, he want to select somebody from somebody who will support Netanyahu and who will be one of his followers. This person is one of the strong follower and for Netanyahu, and he will do what Netanyahu want to do. And also, if he want to make any report, he will just show Netanyahu before he write this report. So because of this, Netanyahu select this person in order to stay in this.
So yeah, basically it's a way to have someone who will follow orders regardless. But I mean, the change itself has created a shaky ground for the Israelis, with internal turmoil taking place there, and you know, things aren't very clear. Given the changes within government offices there in the Israeli government, how can regional powers like Egypt and other Arab states facilitate the entry of aid, as well as creating, you know, pushing forward to phase 2 of the ceasefire? Sir? The phone there was cut off, but that was Dr. Abdel Nasser Makki, political science professor. Thank you so much for your insights, and thank you for joining us. We move on to Macron, charming crowds in Chengdu, and sealing panda diplomacy. Beijing faces rising tensions with Tokyo, where Japan's bold stance on Taiwan has ignited a fierce war of words at the UN. As France seeks common ground with China on Ukraine and trade, the shadow of Sino-Japanese rivalry over disputed islands and regional power grows sharper, testing Asia's fragile balance. Le Monde has reported that French President Macron concluded his high-stakes China visit, seeking Beijing's support for Ukraine's ceasefire after meeting President Xi Jinping. This diplomatic tour highlights France's central role in attempting to balance complex global priorities. Macron was met with choreographed rock star welcome by students in Chengdu, a notable display of China's sophisticated soft power directed at European public opinion. This media buzz effectively advances Beijing's image in the world stage. The visit was underpinned by renewed panda diplomacy, with new agreements symbolizing China's willingness to promote ties with friendly nations. This is a clear strategic tool used to smooth complex political and economic relationships. According to Bloomberg, the core tensions between China and Japan, two major economic and regional powers, are rapidly escalating beyond their deep trade relationship, driven by military competition and historical grievances. Recent friction centers in Japan's accelerated defense buildup and renewed commitment to supporting the U.S. against regional security threats. The immediate flashpoint remains the Taiwan Strait, where Tokyo's recent decision to classify a potential conflict as a survival-threatening situation has triggered sharp diplomatic and economic reprisals from Beijing. This highlights how Taiwan links directly to Japan's national security interests and defense readiness. Ultimately, the standoff reflects a strategic competition where both nations, despite being top trading partners, weaponize economics. China leverages its rare earth dominance while Japan controls high-tech imports, revealing a fragile balance that risks destroying the United States and destabilizing the entire East Asian theater. To shed more light on this, we're joined from Beijing by Mr. Nader Rohan, a writer and political analyst. Thank you, sir, for joining us here on Think Tank. Sir, let's start off by asking about the rockstar welcome that was given to Macron. What tangible economic or diplomatic gains did France secure when it comes to rebalancing the persistent EU-China trade deficit?
Thank you very much for having me. Politically, there are many outcomes of this visit. Firstly, politically, after the friendly and candid and fruitful talks, the two countries agreed to enhance political trust. No matter how the external environment may change, China and France should always demonstrate the strategic vision and independence of a major country and offer each other understanding and support on issues concerning core interests and major concerns of the two countries. And also the two countries are China and France are independent and visionary and responsible major countries and constructive forces working to foster a multipolar world and promote solidarity and cooperation among humanity. So, secondly, and economic outcomes, there are the two sides agreed to expand practical cooperation and will cooperate in continue to cooperate in traditional areas such as aviation and nuclear energy, and also expand a cooperation in emerging areas such as green economy and digital economy and biomedical and also AI. So the two sides also will also facilitate a balanced development of bilateral economy and trade relations, expand two-way investment, and also enable a fair environment for the enterprises of the two countries. Here, I want to emphasize that China is prepared and willing to buy and import more French good products. So there are a lot of outcomes of this visit, especially in the economic fields.
Well, other than the economic aspect of it all, now China has been known to be a strong partner with Russia. And do you think that this is a reason why Macron went there? I mean, to appeal to the Chinese, I suppose. Did his outreach somehow secure any sort of substantive shift when it comes to Beijing's position towards a path for a ceasefire in Ukraine? Maybe they could possibly find a way to mediate this ceasefire with the Russians.
Well, there are more consensus reached by the two sides between China and the president, and also there is no change in China's position stance towards Ukraine crisis, because we can see that in the talk between the two leaders, they exchanged views on the Ukraine crisis, and President Xi Jinping stated that China supports all efforts that are conducive to peace and will continue to play a constructive role in the political settlement of the crisis in its own way. And China also supports European countries in playing their role towards the establishment of a balanced and effective and sustainable European security architecture. So there are agreements and there are the consensus, more consensus reached by the two leaders in this question.
So why did President Xi grant a rare personal escort outside Beijing, yet refuses to offer major trade concessions when it comes to Airbus deals? I know you spoke a bit about possibilities of increasing imports from France, but Airbus is an issue.
Here, I want to emphasize that we noticed in the talks between the two leaders, we can see that China is willing to buy or import more French products. I think there will be more implementing of the consensus reached by the two leaders. Here, there are the products, the good French products, I think, include the Airbus big planes. So we can see that in the implementing of the consensus, there will be more French products imported into China.
Mm-hmm. Well, given the lavish nature of the display by the Chinese when it comes to Macron's visit, do you think this is a soft power sort of move intended to basically foster a closer European ties with strategic autonomy? As tensions rise between the Europeans and the United States, do you think this is a way for China to sort of attract the Europeans and move them or isolate them from the Americans?
I think the China and European relationship are not targeted at any third party. It's not its aim is not to isolate the United States, but it's really to enhance the independence of Europe countries. As we can see that the French president also emphasized that Europe should achieve a more strategic autonomy or independence. So that is not an issue about the relationship with the United States, but it's really a cooperation between the two independent sides, China and European countries.
Can we talk a bit about Japan now? They've classified, or the bold classification of Taiwan conflict, as they've said, is a survival threat. Fundamentally, does this shift Tokyo's defense role and regional security architecture? And what does this mean for the Chinese as well?
Well, for this issue, that there is after the provocative remarks of the new Prime Minister of Japan for the Taiwan questions, I think it's a very dangerous signal that Japan want to expand or revive its militarism and also to revive its imperialism. So we can see that in the World War II, there are many, this also will open the wounds, reopen the wounds that for this country that are occupied by Japan's military forces in the World War II. And also it's a very important, dangerous signal to destroy the international orders after the World War II, because Japan is a defeated country.
Do you think that there's a real possibility then that this war of words could possibly escalate into real action on the ground and a full-on war, or maybe a skirmish between the Chinese and the Japanese may happen due to the tensions?
Yes, now I think this period is the lowest level of the Chinese a Japanese relationship after the founding of the establishment of the diplomatic relationship between China and Japan since 1972. And what China do is to safeguard its sovereignty and territorial integrity, and also safeguard the international order after World War II. So every country in the world should also support these efforts, because, as I said, that Japan is a defeated country in the World War II, and is not allowed to possess the weapons or to attack any other countries in the world, and also is not allowed Japan to possess nuclear weapons. So all the movements the new Japanese government do is a very dangerous signal that Japan will not obey to the laws and international laws, and also this agreements, all the claimations, the internal claimation that after World War II.
Well, as you said there, this is a low point for China-Japan relations. But China has traditionally been known to be a country that does business and is relatively neutral. But given what's happening right now, do you think that the trade ties between these countries, China and Japan, can survive what's actually happening, or will it be continually accused as a weaponization effort between both countries, where both countries will somehow withhold, for instance, rare earth minerals or high-tech trade curbs on economic trade, basically?
I think without withdraw her provocative remarks on Taiwan question from the Japanese new prime minister, I think is hardly survive. The trade ties will hardly survive between China and Japan, and also there is a very big negative impact on the economic relationship between the two countries, because what China do in this time, what China do nowadays is to defend its sovereignty and also its territorial integrity, because Taiwan is not the Taiwan issue is the internal Taiwan question is the internal affairs with Chinese affairs, and any interference from the Japanese side is not allowed. And also the Taiwan question, the Taiwan is a part of China that can be not divided from the Chinese territory.
So has this issue between China and Japan been brought up with President Macron when he was visiting China?
I think this issue, as I said, that unless withdraw the provocative remarks from the Japanese side, China this will not get better in the current time.
Okay, that was Mr. Nader Rongwan, a writer and political analyst. Thank you so much for your insights, and thank you for joining us here and talking to us about the Macron visit to China. And from Gaza's collapsing proxy militias to Beijing's panda-fueled diplomacy, this week laid bare two twin crises: an occupation's unraveling strategy and great powers playing high-stake games where image masks imbalance and alliances hang by a thread. This brings us to the end of today's episode of Think Tank, which unveils a very complex world we live in. Thanks for watching. Thank you from all of us here at Qnews.